Carol Katoro, good evening. Nice to have you. Thanks for joining in with Story of Change with Atim Eso. So it's an amazing night, and I'm so glad to have you here. So definitely, I'm the pioneer of this my great event, and this event came as born out of passion to help young people discover purpose and walk in purpose. And I feel so enlightened. I feel so privileged by God to be the person anchoring this amazing platform called Story of Change with Atim Eso. So why Story of Change? So I'll just get you through that um, part immediately. So Story of Change is a platform where we have experts come in, share their stories, help people to walk in purpose. You know, I've come to realize that story help people so much to get motivated, to get inspired. I've been able to share stories with a lot of people, story of my life, and have been on the journey of development space, working with the NGO and creating value and impact. And I notice whenever I have the opportunity to speak with young people, they get impacted. And I felt, what can I do? How can I take this to another level? And 2020 during the lockdown, we had an event and called it Beyond the Lockdown. And it created a lot of um, impact. And it was on self discovery, working in purpose. And I can remember after that event, the stories I had, because we had personal stories, we shared personal stories with people. And after like 6 months, I met the young lady in the taxi, and I didn't remember her, but she remembered me. And she was asking me, how can she discover herself and how can she work in purpose because of the stories we get. So I knew that very well, that if I come up and do these amazing things, life will be transformed. I've been lingering for like more than 2 years to do this particular event, and finally we are live. So I'm so glad for everyone who are joining to listen to this amazing event. And we have to start with a very beautiful series, and this series is on relationship. So why relationship? Relationship is a very broad topic. It has to do either with your relationship, has to do with your family, workspace, your love life, and everyone you need to. So for me, relationship is very, very important. And today we are discussing on relationship with family. So why relationship with family? So I have a little thing I just need to like. I came to discover that relationship with family is very vital. If you don't have a good family, I think you will not be able to function very well. So family is very important. Family is key. I'm a strong believer of family, and there are so many things that happens in family and their relationship they go astray. There are some things that is left unsaid by some of the family members, maybe by the mom, by the children, by uncles, by cousins. And how can we talk on this? Families, there are a lot of people that go through traumas. They can't speak about it because they're not confident about their parents. They're not confident about the people that is meant to be their loved ones. So really came up with this because we felt it's very, very key to talk about. And this evening, I'll be letting us, we'll be talking on their family and relationship and family, importantly. And I have an amazing speaker. His name is Jay, Sir Jay Johnson, and he's a very amazing speaker. Um, he's very good when it comes to, when people have experiences in family and it has impacted their life and they want to share how they went through that part and how they've been of help to other people. So he's a great, he has blessed my life actually. He has blessed my life talking about relationship, apart from relationship, purpose, and every other thing. So today. I'm having him to join us. Welcome. Sorry for stressing you, and I'm so sorry for the back and forth challenges we are having because of our network. So, our topic for today is relationship and family, and you are our guest speaker for today. So, I'd love to ask. I'll start with this. When we talk about family and relationship and family, what do you think about that? How does it sit with you? Family, relationship, and family. So I just need for you to talk more about that, throw more light on that.
All right, all right. I hope I can be heard clearly.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, okay. Sorry for the um, Nigerian Factor Network. Thanks to all the queues that we've had to put up with in the past days. However, we will attempt to make as much progress as we can with the little time we have left. Yeah. So your question is relationship with family, relationship and then relationship with family, and where do we stand and how do we see relationship with family? Okay, amazing. You know,
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, yes,
can you hear me?
yes. I can hear you very well. I can hear you very well.
Okay, awesome. So, firstly, let's take a look at what the family is, and then we a little bit attempt to look at what relationships are meant to be. So,
Okay.
what makes up of a family and what brought about the origin of family? Permit me to say that the most popular religion in this side of life, Africa, probably the world at large, is Christianity and Islam. And I would make a bold statement to say that there was creation, there was a record of creation in both Bible and Quran. However, I'm of the Christian background, and I understand more about the Bible than I would lay claims on my knowledge of the Islam, even though I do have some very, very strong knowledge or um, points to want to state in Islam. However, that's not the basis for this meeting. I just want to establish that both Christian and Islam agrees on the concept of creation. And so the Bible did create the earth and everything that we know under the sun in this world. And we did hear when God said after all creation that it was good, and it was good. On the account of his creation, everything he made was good. And then he created man, who was uh the last on his list of creation. Yet he made man more precious, more important, and more powerful than all creation. The difference between man and every creation God did was the life. God God gave the life to give life to man, which of course we know every other living beings or things like the trees and the animals all had life, but there was a difference in man, which was let's make him in our image, God said. And then he put he put his spirit in man, who made him which made him a supernatural creation of God's supernatural who gave the influence of the supernatural element in God's creation. And so when man was created, God gave him the life and the spirit of God and made him to dominate the earth. But there was something he did after giving the whole powers to man. He said, everything I've created, I've given to you to take charge of. But then there's something that was missing. God said he looked at man and discovered that it was not good enough for man to be alone, which gave birth to the creation of his helpmate, his partner. and the wife that Adam eventually got. Now God had to put man to sleep on all the stories and tales that follows that, and then He created him to join him, Eve, which was created from the flesh of Adam, which was created out of the body of Adam. Now, the significant thing about this is this, that the second creation in human form that God did, He did out of the already created spirit and body, clay from the sand, and the spirit of God. Now, this means there was a unique part of Adam that God created, which was in the flesh of Adam, He made the woman, which uh, made it more like I'm giving to you something to for you to understand that this is a part of you and this is you, but in a she form that could also assist you. So He created the woman out of him for him to appreciate this creation more and appreciate the creator for giving him someone like him, someone out of him, having created the Adam, the man, out of God's image and likeness. The woman was created in the image of Adam. And so Adam naturally had to find himself in the place of loyalty, commitment, and love for his wife Eve. Now let's push further. And that was why the Bible did made us understand in Matthew. In Matthew, the Bible made us to understand that He looked at the man and said that it wasn't good enough for a man to be alone. Therefore, the man should separate from himself and be cleaved to a woman, which now made them man and wife. So basically, by the reason of my introduction, family comprises of a parent and children. That means there have to be a father, a mother, then children. Permit me to say, by the origin of creation, God ordained and allowed a male and a female to come together so that they can invariably a function to the creation of a life. So just like in physics, we say positive and negative charges, the positive and negative components create charges. Simply put, a man and a woman can only give birth, can only procreate. So a male and a female, any kind of animal, is permitted by God's origin to create life. And that's why man and woman had to come together for this purpose to be able to create a family. Now, the father, mother, and children is what comprises of a family, and relation is, as we all know, when two or more things reason by the reason of coming together share the same boundary, share the same affection, share the same concern, or live and exist within a space. That is what relationship simply is. And so we looked at the relationship as an entity, as an absolutely different entity, and then the family as a different entity. But now coming together to bring the both relationship and family together, we discover that for a family to really thrive through the numbers that God had created them by the virtue of the um, command to procreate and dominate, it therefore means that man needs to multiply in numbers. And once you find more than two or three persons within a unit, relationship is created. And therefore, there was a need for us to talk about the relationship of different inbuilt and capacity of humans, even though they fall under the same flesh and blood and the same father and mother or man and woman that created or through which they were formed or created or bathed. Now, basically, what this means is this: no matter how much a father and mother whom actually came from different background together to form a family unit, which is the husband and wife before the children started coming in, it's only an indication that the man came from a background, the woman came for a background. He came with his baggages like as the woman came with her baggages. And therefore, once they start procreating and giving birth to children, there is 100% chance that they're going to come off their baggages from their background to in what I say invest. Let me use the let me borrow the word invest. They will invest this into their children because by the virtue of inheritance, the children will have to take part of the mother and part of the father. Let's get this very simple and clear. So the mother comes with her bag of dramas. Likewise, the father comes with his bag of drama, and they come together to become man and wife, and therefore they have to create a balance, which is usually known to be a compromise, known as compromise. Now, these two have compromised their excesses and said, okay, for us to coexist, cohabit, and live within this space, we need to let go of some of the things that was probably a norm for me, but relating with you now, discover that it's not going to be absolutely perfect with you. So they therefore had to make some compromises. Now, they had to let go of a lot of things for them both to be able to live in peace and harmony with themselves. Now, back to where the difference comes. In relationship, you're going to give back to children that will exhibit these characters you have dropped because it's in your DNA. Now, the father had let go of some of his personal norms that he felt comfortable with growing within his space. Likewise, the mother. And for this reason, they have been able to love and understand and live with themselves over the years. Now they have children. You cannot stop these children from exhibiting those DNA that is in you and in that of your wife that you have let go. So the dynamics now comes from how family relates. The father understands that this traits can be mine. The mother understands that this traits can be hers. However, when the children start coming in, the children will exhibit different traits, and therefore they'll begin to have conflict within themselves, or they'll have a level of understanding. So relationship does come with its baggages, and we have to get to understand that yes, mine can be soft, yours can be hard. But understanding that daddy and mommy have been able to let go and they're existing within this space over the years, children now have to come to an understanding to say, okay, I have to, regardless of the fact that this is how this person is programmed and wired, I have to accept them for who they are. Because family, siblings, is one thing that we don't choose. You don't choose your sibling. You can choose a friend. I don't like the way she laughs. I don't like the way he laughs. It's a friend. You can let go of such friendship. But as siblings or as blood is concerned, you cannot choose your sibling. Therefore, you cannot reject the character or the personality of your siblings. That is the uniqueness of relationship, and that's why relationship in family is extremely important that we visit once in a while, and therefore try as much as we can to also build balance to understanding that the traits of pa and the trait of ma, we are going to have to find a way of blending them all in so that the unit within this family that we are found ourselves, we can blend in and make reasonable progress. Basically, that is my introduction about relationship and family. So, to my host, I don't know, would you want us to have is there any question you want to chip into before I make progress, or do we just continue to go about the business of relationship and family?
Yeah, you said something very profound, and it's that
Yeah.
relationship come with its own baggage, and truth be told, it comes with its own baggage. And I was just like wondering, if you have a family of, how do you deal with family trauma, like a child? How do you deal with the family trauma when you don't have like a good relationship, a good standing relationship with your parents, or let me say your siblings, and it was out of, should I say, maybe when you were small, and this trauma just affected because some kids don't have this strong bondings with their parents, either their mother or with their father, and which affects the relationship they have. So let's assume maybe while they were growing up, they had a good relationship, a good bonding relationship. Please, can you hear me? Okay, they had a good bonding relationship with their parents, and along the line, the bonding got stopped and it's not really blossoming as it is. And maybe around when they were a tender age, and maybe let's say from age 10 or maybe let's say 12 years, it wasn't like blossoming as it was when they were small. So, and these children have now grown up with this mindset. Oh, sorry, we lost our guest. I think his network is not funny with him. I'm so sorry about that, guys. But I have some nice questions to ask him because he needs to like let us know how we need to handle if you have a child that's you're up to, maybe let's say you're up to 25 years now and you don't have a good standing relationship maybe with your siblings or with your cousin, and they're not aware of what happened. You understand? So they are not aware of what happened, and this automatically is causing um, a trauma for you, and you're scared of getting married, or you're scared of, am I going to deal with my children like this? So it's something we need to like really dissect a bit in how to handle this case of trauma. So while we are still waiting on him, and please, if you have any question, please do well to just drop on the comment sections. We'll try to get our guests to answer your questions and to dissect it the way it's it's going to it's going to help. So do well to help me drop your questions, and I'll be going through your comment section to see if there's any question. I'm just sorry about the network issues, the clinch. I'm just sorry about that. Um, so while we're still waiting for our guests to come in, I'll still say okay. I'm someone that has um I've had a lot of should I call challenge story of change. Okay, I saw on the comment section someone was saying I should. Could you share with us your own change of story? Okay, while we wait for the guest. Okay, my own change of story. I have a lot of story to tell, but I think that will come on a different place on its own. But for this particular event, I actually really wanted um, to do this. I'm very passionate about helping people and solving problems. So I felt, how am I going to do this? You want to do this stuff. How are you going to go about it? How are you going to solve people's problem? So I started somewhere, and that place was volunteering, and that is how the vision kept growing. But unfortunately, I didn't even think that as I'm like this, I'll run an NGO. But I'm just seeing myself like that in the NGO space. So, oh sorry, I need to pause. My guest is back again. I'm just sorry. My guest is back. I'm just sorry, Sergio, for stressing you. Sorry, so sorry about that. I think the network is acting funny. But we are going to show the network today that we're Nigerians and we know how to go about it, and we must deliver. So before the network took you
Apologies.
out, and yeah, it's
Apologies.
accepted, we're in Nigeria. So those things happen while we are here in Nigeria. So I was trying to ask a question about how do you deal with family trauma when it comes to relationship. So in this situation where a child grew up in a family, she or he was loved, and unfortunately maybe at the age of 12 or at the age of 10 or the age of 15, he didn't have that bonding again he had when he was growing up. Then at the age of 25 now, he's 25, and he doesn't want to get married. He's scared of marriage, scared of having children. Now, should then if the family is not aware that the effect of what happened, you understand, while the child was growing up is affecting him, and the child is not now free speaking with the parent, but could decide to speak to an outsider instead of the parent or with the siblings. So how do you handle that kind of scenario? How can relationship without relationship affect a child, and what trauma, and that kind of trauma, how can you solve that kind of trauma?
All right. Family trauma. family trauma, it's actually very important that in relating to family trauma, we look at the major causes of such traumas. Um,
Okay.
there are several factors that should be considered when bringing up a family, when raising a family. Before I go into family trauma or whatever causes a child to have a personality disorder while they grow or whilst they were growing up, we should first look at um, some clause that should be concentrated upon as a couple when you first meet and you're making effort to talk to get to know each other and then grow together as the case may be, coming to get married together, grow old together, live your dreams and visions and try to create one for the both of you and all. First and foremost, I want to establish that children who eventually have family traumas or any kind of trauma or abuses or some kind of experiences that leaves them stigmatized or stereotyped, as the case may be, is mostly a function of a a the inability of the parents to do the needful while they were putting together their faith to become a man and wife, husband and wife, and a people of common interest to grow old together. Now, first, there needs to be a synergy between both parents' vision, dreams, and aspiration. And this also have to include the program they're going to get to run for their children as these children start to come along. Mind you, the children are not the product, the children are not part of the marriage. The children are nowhere part of the marriage. And so sometimes the traumas children experience is because parents have made them part of the marriage, whereas it is by no chance supposed to be that way. I may look like I'm breaking tables or breaking protocols or norms, as the case may be. Let me quickly jump into that. Now you see, when a woman was first ordained to come to God, I guess this was in Matthew chapter 19, verse 25 and 26. A part of the reason is because man, it wasn't good that man should be alone. It was not good that man should be alone. That means man as an individual cannot be fulfilled by God's design if he remained alone. And therefore, Matthew chapter 19, verse 5 said, there was now a need. There was a need for this man to be separated from his father and his mother, to be now be cleaved to his wife, and the both of them shall become one. Both of them will become one flesh. It wasn't recorded that both of them will become one flesh with children. Children is number three, or number two, or number four, or number five. But the Bible says these two will come to become one, and the both of them will remain one flesh. If you read to verse 6, they are going to remain one flesh. Therefore, if they become two flesh, that means children have joined them. Mind you, one plus one in marriage is one.
Mm, mm.
The only thing that gives condition to it to be multiplied is when a third party comes into the picture, which is the children. And two is not marriage. One is marriage. I don't know if you understanding me. However, to be able to put this into a lighter
Yeah.
perspective, Psalms chapter 127, verse 3 said, the Bible said, children are an heritage. Now, what is a heritage? Heritage is something that is given to you by the virtue of gifts. Heritage are gifts. Some other translations say children are gifts from God. He said it is the fruit to the womb of his reward. Therefore, the reward for you accepting a woman or taking a woman to become man and wife is the fruit, is the heritage that was given to you. That means no child was ever born with it's an inheritance. As you were given back to you, by no default design that you were born a king. It is going to be a heritage to you, a gift to you that you were chosen by your father to ascend the throne, which is a gift. So If we have an understanding that children is part of your marriage, you mistake it, and that's why the conflict in your marriage affects the child because we made the child a part of the marriage. Now, you and your husband are going to put together a structure that will run these children after they will come and go, and it will remain the both of you. Therefore, the program we are going to run is to ensure that these children are given everything they need to grow up with correctly: fear of God, moral standards, respect for the society, good education, counsels, wisdoms, and everything you're going to need for raising up someone that you'd want to win a trophy or to win a medal or to become successful in the future. Anything devoid of this, we directly create room for children to have traumas. However, how does these traumas come? Negligence, most of the times. Overconfidence also play a very vital role. We think sometimes that we've given the children all they need, and therefore they should not lack nothing in it. In that in itself is even an error. And so we feel sometimes so comfortable with what we've made available to our children or our um those, if we are caregivers or those we're responsible for, that even if things goes wrong, we don't believe it has to come, it had to come from us because we felt so. Overconfidence to this effect even makes us lose out in how to be able to parent correctly children who are already having issues. You feel so overconfident sometimes, and you tell yourself, no, my children cannot be having mental health issues, psychological defects, and all, because you feel I'm a superhuman. But little have you forgotten that as you were growing up, you also had issues you had to tend or deal with in one way or the other. So by the virtue of the fact that you've surmounted or you've overcome this, you believe that your DNA automatically translates into a superhuman DNA. And therefore we neglect these things when our children begin to have these problems. We don't even know they have these problems sometimes, so much so that they grow with it. Now let me cite an example. This is how traumas comes. Apparently, I had at some point in my life decided to go live with my grandfather. I was raised in Kaduna, and Kaduna was a conventional work environment. It's a civil service zone, probably the hub of education way back. And so everything about our upbringing was built around work, worship, and learn. And so, a particular time, my grandpa came home and he happened to be a teacher, and I felt okay. I would love to go to farm with grandpa. I learned grandpa farms a lot. He has a lot of farms, and I want to join grandpa. I want to go to farm. My dad just laughed it over, and it was just a dream. We have a ritual we do in the family that every end of the year we go home. The whole family goes home. We go to my maternal parent to spend some time. We go to my paternal parent to spend some time. And so when we went this time, little did my dad know that I had plans. I said I was going to go and stay with my grandpa, and therefore stay with my grandpa. I would. After the holidays, after the new year, we were meant to return, and I refused to go with my parents. I stayed back with grandpa. Hell broke loose, but I stayed back. Now, let me introduce to us where this kind of traumas comes from. Trauma wasn't directly to mine, but this is the typical example of how we get to have traumas. I bet you till today I still feel that my cousin holds some small pieces of those uh permit me to use the word pain. I don't want to go heavy on words, one adjective. Let me just say sentiments or pains. I bet you still holds a little bit of them till now. So this was what happened. I'm coming from Kaduna. He is Kogi based, but they're not in the village. They're actually in the city. His father was a teacher, probably one of the first teachers in that place. And therefore, he wasn't from a relegated background where we say he's from a village or one bush. They were very, very, very okay where they were. And so when I came, the first time I came, I think second position overall in my class. He was two class ahead of me. And he was probably dancing around 20s. The third time I came first in my class. And my grandpa was super excited about the fact that, yeah, as a teacher, my children and grandchildren are supposed to be doing extremely well academically. So I was doing well. Mind you, I was coming from Kaduna. So but I was a sound student. No, I'm not blowing my trumpet now, right? I was a sound student. I was very, very intelligent student coming from way back. But it didn't mean that the rub off of Kaduna is why I came to this place that looks like a village and that's why I'm doing good. No, it was just that I could adapt to things very quickly and then I could just step up mentally or academically. And that's how I was doing good. My major goal in life growing up is that no one should be ahead of me in anything. I wanted to be the best. So when I find the best, I go to meet the best and learn from the best to beat the best. That was my motto. That was my slogan. First time I came second. Second time I came first. The first term in the school, not the first term though. The first time I did in school was second term. That was in January, right? Second time, yeah, I came second. Third time I came first. The next time I came first. The next time I moved to second. Now my grandpa was so pleased with my performance that he would always now his grandchild happens to be a few years, probably a year or two older than me. Sorry, his last born, his last child happens to be a year or two older than me. Therefore, we were within the same age range, right? And so, naturally, as grandpa, back then in the villages, you leave your food or your remnants of your food to your children. And therefore, most of the time, the last one get to enjoy uh, papa, their father or grandpa's food and all. So, all that changed because this is a grandchild. And not only is he a grandchild, but he's now more intelligent by the virtue of the results he brings back to school. So, there was a problem. There was a very, very serious problem. I didn't know on time until I started seeing the body language from my uncle, not even cousin, he was my uncle, but I related with him as cousin. Uh, I started seeing the body language and I obviously knew there was problem. But my grandparents did not notice. They didn't notice that, but that was a problem. He grew with this sentiment because his parents gave him the privileges that was meant for him to their grandchild, hoping that okay, he's just a grandchild. He needed more love. But grandpa now gave me more love in person because I was doing well academically, and that was supposed to be normal. But the problem there is this: don't show a child love more than the other because he's academically performing better than the other. That was a problem, a very serious problem.
Yeah.
Now, my my supposed uncle is actually my supposed cousin is actually my uncle. Was taller than I am naturally, 2 years older, and he had more stamina. Of course, he is in the village or hometown, and I'm coming from the Boti background, sort of. So we'd go to school, and sometimes we walk to school. He just outworks me, outruns me, and outdoes everything, leaving me behind. I was feeling really bad. Constantly, this kept repeating itself, and I was wondering why does he do this to me? Little did I know that there were issues in his heart that he couldn't explain why he was feeling the way he was feeling. That brought rebellion to our relationship. Now that was the stigma he grew up with. He eventually discovered that in everything we both agreed to do, I kind of go faster before he stabilizes himself and does it. I begin to get results. It affected the way he related with me. Continuously, he felt I was a threat to his growth space. Once I learned of this, I withdrew completely. Even when I have results to give from something we both started, I won't show the results. I wanted him to be in that emotional state and balance so as not to continue to compete with me when he's supposed to be someone I look up to. Now, these are the problems parents create for children without knowing that this is a problem. To cut the long story short, I actually had to leave. I had to leave home and went back to Kaduna. Now, most people didn't understood what happened. Why did he have to go? They felt he was stubborn, he wasn't concentrating anymore and all that. No, but there was a problem. I figured that the love was not evenly shared. And it was affecting my relationship with the only person that was my age grade that I had to live with. Now, this is relationship. I had to live with this person. We sleep on the same bed, wake up together, go to bed together, go to school and church, and does virtually everything together. But I knew in my heart of heart that something wasn't right. I also had to create that space and eventually left the scene so he can get to grow normally like a child. Now, this was me, a child, understanding that there's a problem and this problem needs to be fixed. This gap needs to be filled up. So, if we're not sensitive enough to identify these problems on time, children will grow with it. And will grow with it, finding yourself hating somebody without knowing the cause for the hatred. And that's a problem in itself. And so, parents need to understand that as much as possible, identify the things that would create rifts between your children or people who are of the same age within the same unit of space occupying, because that's where relationship is created and that's where relationship is also destroyed. How do we fix this? A child needs to consciously come to the point of responsibility. I learned that from you, my host. Way back, we kept emphasizing on responsibility, responsibility. We need to take responsibility for certain and lots of actions of ours. Now, responsibility is something that Joyce Meyer said some few weeks ago that I learned. She said, someone might be responsible for bringing you to the place you are right now. Either whether you're traumatized, you're depressed, you failed, and you are just in a place of self-pity or whatever situation you find yourself. Someone must have aided the cause, showed you the door, held you by the hand, or pushed you to the place of failure. Accepted, taken, checked. But it is your responsibility to get yourself out of that place. People may be responsible for the situations and positions we found ourselves in life, but failure not to recognize that you need to get up and leave where you are is your own responsibility, it's your own demise, it's your own failure, not the person who brought you there or the life or the world in general that has pushed you to where you are. Now, let me cite you an example that should take you out of trauma. Simple. A father got married to this woman, had this set of twin, a boy, two boys, and the mother died while they were kids. And the father said, because of his sentimental love to this woman, if he remarries, the next woman coming is going to have children, and he will treat this love of my life's children. He probably may not treat them the way their mother would have, and that will hurt me to know that I am giving room for someone to hurt the essence of what is left over of my life. And therefore, he said he was not going to remarry. So he didn't remarry and he grew up with these children. Now, while he was growing up, because of the fear for not remarrying a woman who is not going to be up to his wife or will treat these children badly, he gave to drinking, smoking, and lived a reckless life, carries women and all. Excuse me. And so what happened? These young boys were growing and watching the father do what he does. And they understood why the father doesn't want to get married and why he's around ladies. And then one of the child, obviously they were more than 18 at this stage of their life. One of the child took after the father, knowing that this is the only life he has seen as an example for him to emulate. The father was a drunk, a smoker, and a womanizer. These were the only three things he understood about life. So he took after his father. The twin brother said he doesn't like anything about his brother and his father. He sees other people outside apart from his immediate family, which were supposed to be his direct and immediate influence. Now, influence is another thing we need to talk about. However, let's dwell on this and end this submission. Now, the young man refused to take after the father and the brother because he felt there ought to be another way out. I did not like it that my father smokes and drinks. He smells all the time. He's reckless with driving, with boats and every other thing. My brother is also has taken to this path, and I don't like the way they're living. He chose not to one day participate in what the parents and the brother was doing, the father and the brother was doing. Now, the question is, who is responsible? Who is to be held responsible for the reckless life of the son who does what the father does? And who is going to be held responsible for the son who did not do? Now, just like the Bible said, death and life are in the power of the tongue, but those who find it eats the truth. And but then he didn't stop there. You know, before you I present to you death and life, but he advised you to choose life. He advised you to choose life, even though he said the both of them are before you. Now, the young man decided to take life because he felt, no, I can't live this life of my parents and my sibling. I want this lifestyle. And he chose and was responsible for himself. However, when the brother chose to go left or go south, The outcome of the boy's life is not his father's responsibility, it's not his father's fault. If he remained in that life and continued to live like his father, it is his sole responsibility. So for child trauma, get help. You can wake up and say, yes, there are several ways to be able to come out of this. Get help, choose to break out of it, intentionally work towards getting a better life than remaining in the death trap of trauma, stigma, or stereotype. We need to understand that the quality of life we live is our choice to make. It doesn't matter how far or how well and whatever your parents have done for you and what they have done to you. It is your responsibility to wake up and make the difference. You can't make the difference on your own. Seek help, get help so that you can heal and become a better person who can now attract something. See, you see, this thing about happiness we talk about all the time is nobody's responsibility to make you happy. You have to intentionally create your happiness yourself. People can only show you the pathway, but you have to walk past it yourself. So intentionally, children need to come to the place where you look around and you see someone else doing better. I need to be like this person and choose to do better rather than blame it on antecedents or the past. Child trauma can be handled when you're responsible for your actions. Basic.
Mm. Oh, thank you so much. The last one is very, very insightful. Child trauma can be handled if we take responsibility for it. So, um, I'll just go to the comment section, and Alex said something. Alexandra said something. Said there are trauma that parent plays on children because they don't deal with their own trauma before having children. So,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
um, in the next like 3 minutes, can you just throw a little word on this? Because truth be told, I really actually agree with what Alex is saying. That trauma that so for me, my own perspective, I would say before you go into marriage, you need to get healing first, like you said, as a parent, because you can't bring in a child. Because even the Bible, I know there's a scripture that says in the Bible that do not pick the the sins of the father to the child. So if you want to have a godly children or um, a godly background, I'll just put it that way. You need to get healing first. You need to seek for help, like you said earlier on. So, but how can, from what Alex said now, there are trauma that parents places on the children, and I know you spoke about that a lot when you were talking about when you sharing your experience. You talked about especially your story with your cousin. Your grandfather didn't know what this was doing to the other person, and because this automatically can bring low self-esteem to the other person that was very bright and um, unknown to them, that they're causing more harm. This sometimes I used to tell a lot of parents, and I tell them, don't love one child more than one, because you don't know what you're causing in the life of the other person. It will cause enmity unknown to you. You think you are doing right, but you don't know what you are doing. So I would have loved to ask another question, but I'm sorry, we don't have time. Time is really fast spent. Time has really gone. And like I know we would have said a lot if not for the fact that we had issues with the network, which took about almost like 20 more than 20 minutes of our time. But I'm so
My bad.
grateful that we had to be able to share something, be able to share something amazing. So like in the next 3 minutes, please, what Alex said, there are trauma that parents place on their children because they don't deal with their own trauma before having children. So as
All right.
parents, how
All right.
can, like as an intended father or
Yeah.
a intended mother, how can you
Yeah.
handle your own trauma? Or do you think that if you don't handle your trauma, you shouldn't get married? Then that's another story for that's another question for another day. If you don't handle your trauma, don't get married. Mm. So please, can you talk about that?
All right. Have you heard this? Uh, have you heard this saying that most parents say, "I want my children to do better than me.
Yeah,
I want my children to go
I said
places."
that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Most of this is as a result of the areas of their inefficiencies and the areas of their failures. Most parents want their kids to do better, but it will be imperative that parents make their children understand why they should do better because of the setbacks or the failures they have had. Sometimes it's very important we state these things to parents children, so that they become a blueprint for them to be able to walk past through successfully. Now, the easiest way to be a successful business person or an entrepreneur is to piggyback on the success of an already successful business person. Do you understand? Now, I wouldn't have to do so much work when I already know this person has succeeded in this field or this space. All I would just need to do is come and hang on your neck and watch the steps, ask questions, see your failures and all. Now, basically, when it comes to parenting and transfer of our fears or our traumas, our issues, I said something earlier. You are going to be responsible for your own happiness. Nobody would. Nobody will ever be responsible for happiness. Now, I wouldn't want to share another example, but I'll just quickly make you understand that I was in a relationship where I was doing everything to make my partner happy. I was doing everything humanly possible to please and make her happy. And therefore we had to just call it a quit. And she said she needs to go and find
Yes.
happiness and then make progress with her life before she comes to make someone else input now make her better. Let me say this. Let me say this to you. Trauma is like sickle cell.
Trauma is
Like sickle cell.
wow.
All right. I'm
Wow.
AS. I'm AS. You're AS.
Mm.
Coming together is going to give birth to an SS. It's a trauma. If you want to heal it, go and marry AA.
Are you serious? Ah, ah.
That answers
Oh,
Alex's question.
yes. Wow. So if you know you an AS, don't marry AS. Go and marry an AA. Ah, I've gotten that
Trauma.
nugget. It's very strong. It's very powerful. Ha, trauma is like a sickle cell. Wow. It's so unfortunate we have a limited time, and we'll still need to come back to this topic. We really need to come back to this topic because for me, I was saying that before when the network took you out that I'm family is very important to me. So let me check if we have some questions on it. That family is very important to me. I won't be saying mentioning my success story today if I don't mention my family. Yes, my mom, like my siblings. I won't mention that. Like my office currently, we are not having an office space. It's my home. I've done skill acquisition training from through the NGO for young people through my home. There was a lot of risk involved. So there are some family that won't accept you to do that in your home when they know that they're bringing strangers into their home. Why should you do that? But for them to accept it, for me to go. So for me, I don't take that for granted. It's out of love. So family is family is very important. Family is very important. Thank you so much. I would have loved to ask questions. So though I don't know if anybody have we should be done by the next 8 minutes. This is 2053. Okay, the next 7 minutes. So I don't know if anybody has any question you feel we could our guest could answer. So please just drop in the comment section and we will love to respond to that. We'd love to respond to that question. Oh. Sajay, Alex said
Yes, sir.
part two is needed. Yeah, truth be told, yeah, part two is needed. And but we'll talk that behind and how we can go about that. Yeah, to talk about because for me, family and relationship is very important. For you to be successful, guy, you need to have a very good, strong background. I tell people I can
Mm-hmm.
your family if you misbehave, your family okay, I'll use my mom as a case study on this scenario. I can do anything and she knows that things you tell her that I did, she will not believe you. That thing you tell her that I did, that can look for trouble. She say, yes, that my daughter, she can look for trouble. But the thing there is, when you bring it in front of you, she's going to defend me. They might say, okay, but also she will not know that is I fought with somebody. She will know, that was a lie. My daughter will not fight with anybody. But there's some things you do, she'll defend me then. But when she'll come back to the house, she'll scold me. She'll scold me. So for
Very
me, family,
important.
yes, she'll scold me behind. If you let her shout you, easily she'll shout, but she'll just scold you. But you see in the public, she will not disgrace you in the public. So it's not that she's the perfect mother, but there are some things I can say that which has helped me a lot. So for me, family is very, very important. So
Mm-hmm.
okay, we don't have I think we don't have any questions about this. So I'll I will thank you, Sajay, for joining in um to this project stereo change with Atim Eso, and for everyone who has logged in to this live event. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Tibabasi. Thank you, Comfort. Thank you, Afosisi, Jonathan, Nathan, Larry, Abu Brown. Thank you so much for logging in, Alex. I'm trying to call. If I can't call you, please don't be angry with me. The network is not permitting me, but I really want to appreciate everyone for logging in. And Story of Change has come to stay. We'll be having Story of Change every Thursday with different amazing topics. So for the month of February, we are talking about relationship. Remember, a relationship is in the month of love that has the relationship, showing of love and all that. So we felt to talk about relationship because it's very vital and very key. But we'll be having in every month we'll be unveiling our series. We'll be having different series every month. We will have different speakers that will come in and to speak with us, share us some stories, answer some of our questions, and believe that can help transform our life. And I'm so grateful for everyone that came today. Thank you, Sir Jay, for coming. Thank you for standing by with us for this. So we have our YouTube page. Please kindly the link will be shared very soon on the platform, the Facebook page on please kindly follow the link and subscribe to our YouTube page. We have an Instagram page, Story of Change with Activist Soul. We have a Facebook page called Story of Change with Activist Soul. We are here to intentionally, I'm very intentional about this because someone's life. And don't be surprised today you might have this a participant, someone viewing, watching, and tomorrow you might be a speaker because you have a lot of things you have benefited from this session. So thank you everyone for today's event was relationship and family. If you're just joining in, please just go through the videos again. I'm so sorry you might have some glitch where we had some delay and all that. Well, in Nigeria, our network is not friendly a bit with us. So subscribe, subscribe to our page, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channel. We'll be having amazing series. Some might not be on Facebook, but will be on our YouTube page. So kindly subscribe to our page and thank you everyone. Thank you, Sajay. Thank you, Alexander, for staying put. Thank you, Larry, for staying put. I'm so grateful for those I can't see your names. So I'm so sorry about that. But thank you for everyone. I remain your host. My name is Atim Eso. See ya next week Thursday, 7:30. We promise to be more steady with network. We'll try to see how we can solve more problems than this. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. Do have a nice evening. So thank you, Sajid, for having us. We are glad to we'll have another session with you again. Do have a nice evening. So thank you guys for staying put with us. I'm grateful to the end. So see you next week Thursday, same time, 7:30.